Hey everybody, this is Talkative Carl back again for another tier list maker, and today I'll be covering movies that I've seen of 2023 and how I will rank them in terms of how poorly they were in my eyes or like top tier in my eyes. And yeah, please like and subscribe, share this with your friends. Let me know what movies that you've seen this year were a huge standout and what was like extremely lackluster. So we'll start off right in A Haunting in Venice, which I probably gotta do a full spoiler review next Halloween, because by the time they went out on streaming, because I couldn't afford to go to the movies to go see it right away because of some other stuff that came up. And by the time I saw it on streaming, it was already like the holidays and I could not make room for it. So I'm going to make room for talking about this movie next year. So look forward to that. But as far as what I've seen so far, in terms of the I'm pretty sure Haunting in Venice is a sequel to the Murder on the Orient Express. No, it was definitely not. I was like, am I forgetting one? Yeah. In terms of the franchise, Murder on the Orient Express, definitely now in this. Overall, I enjoyed it, but compared to the first two, or even like the very first one, it's okay. It's not terrible. I think I put it as like a B. As far as maybe I feel differently after I see it like a second time. I might, give like a glorious opinion on it in my full review in the future. But as of right now, it's very like, slightly above average. In terms of how it was perceived in like the trailer, like, oh, it's gonna be some kind of supernatural stuff. Poirot, I'm about to say Clouseau, Poirot deals with, but there's more to it than that. Not gonna go full spoilers here, but as far as like the overall cast, it's not up to the same, I won't say same quality, but like the ensemble cast in the first two movies, there was something more from them I got in terms of like interesting characters. Not many interesting characters in this one. That's why like I don't put it as highly as I did the first two. Heck, I even think I might have put like Death on the Nile as like a very mid movie. But anyway, Ant-Man Quantumania. As I said it many times, Paul Rudd and Jonathan Majors is probably the only two people that stood out to me as far as like this film. But everything else, lackluster, because we know what, this is way before the whole Jonathan Majors case even became a thing. But we knew that the behind the scenes people are spread thin, the writing as far as just like lackluster. Everybody was like, Disney was having everybody all over the place and nobody couldn't take a beat and focus on one thing at a time. So it shows in quality, in the CGI especially. I didn't hate it, but I ain't gonna give it like a C. It's D quality. Aquaman Lost Kingdom. I just did like a full review on that, which is up on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/talkativecarl. So I couldn't make a separate video talking about it for a DC tier listing because the only other two movies ducktailing at the end of the Snyderverse thing was Flash and Aquaman 2. it would have been like a very, very short video, but I'm gonna say it here, like I said it in my Aquaman review. I put Aquaman 2 A listing. It was really good in my opinion. Flash, I give it like a C, and that was very generous of a C, mainly because of Michael Keaton and like the actors who played Supergirl were very good. And despite the controversy, Ezra Miller wasn't terrible, except when he's playing his younger self was super annoying. But so Aquaman 2, very stellar performances, except for Emma Heard. She was very mid at best. But Jason Momoa, Yahya Abdul-Mateen, and crap, I keep forgetting like the actor who played Orm. But you know who I'm talking about. I keep wanting to say Martin Short, but he played like a different character. I don't know. I keep blanking on his doggone name. All three were very good, and they were like a big highlights for me. And James Wan is very good with showing like very aquatic scenes. As you know, it's not murky. You can actually see what's going on. It's colorful, bright. All very good. Blue Beetle, which is technically in the James Gunn DC stuff, I actually thoroughly enjoyed it. Even though I was watching this other review, it kind of pointed out something in terms of, not in like a very racist or anything like that component, but it's just making like a observation in terms of, if you've seen like the family from Miss Marvel, Kamala's family, and you see Jaime Reyes' family, aside from their ethnic background, they pretty much play very similar in terms of like quirky family with a no nonsense mom, and you know, overbearing parents, and trying to, you know, do the overachieving child coming of age thing. It's like beat for beat. If you didn't know their, you know, ethnic background, can you really tell them apart? And looking at that, it's like, yeah, you kind of have a point there. And it's like nothing that distinguishes them from each other aside from their race. They don't do nothing very unique when it comes to stories like this. And it's almost to a point of being a cliche. I can't really say it's a full cliche, but you can make the argument. But besides all that, Blue Beetle was fun. Great character. The actor who played Jaime Reyes is very standout. George Lopez was very good in it. But yeah, I don't know if I'll put it as an A. I'd say it was like a very high B. A very high B. There you go. Is, you know, it's not like a huge stellar blow your mind kind of movie, but in terms of how DC movies have been here and there, is definitely a highlight. I say it's up there with somewhere like the first Shazam. No, I put Shazam as like A tier on my DC ranking, but it's highly up there. Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Now, unlike most people, I don't like revere like the Guardians films like, oh my god, my top 10, top 5 Guardian, like, you know, MCU movies, they're so good. It's like, yeah, they're okay to me. Like, I'm not like a huge Guardians guy. They're all great. I got no ill will towards it or anything like that, but I don't have the same reverence. They're pretty much like, especially the first movie, just 2-hour music videos, pretty much like 80s, you know, rock ballads. I think like the second film was probably like the best Guardians film in my opinion. But my biases aside, I cannot deny, like, you know, some of the writing and, you know, the cinematography, everything like that. It's very good. So I will still put it at A. Because I cannot deny, especially being like James Gunn's final wrap up, I say he ended on a very high note, so I gotta give it the props where it's given. Indiana Jones and Dial of Destiny. Now this was, I still enjoyed it for what it was, especially like as like a good Father's Day type of time I had, because as a Father's Day gift, me and my brothers all put in the money to take our father out to go see this film as a family. And knowing my father's a huge Harrison Ford fan, I was like, and I remember watching all the Indiana Jones films with him as a little kid, and it's like, it behooved me not, especially being the last Indiana Jones film ever with at least with Harrison Ford. Not sure about anything else, but I had to make sure we go all to see this film together. So I also hold on to that. As far as story wise, God, man, it just feels depressing when we're watching Harrison Ford move about. It's kind of like the way with Sam Jackson right now in like the first Captain Marvel film and Secret Invasion. It's just depressing as all hell. Like, you're old now kind of situation, and we can tell. No matter the CGI you muck up here and there, it's still like, ugh. And as far as narrative, there's good moments here and there, so I can't really hate it. So all things considered, I say a C, a fair C. I want to be fair with it. John Wick Chapter 4. Boy, it's S tier. Man, the John Wick franchise is just phenomenal. In terms of revenge type of films, it's definitely did like the most unique take on revenge thrillers I've seen. And since there's a lot of movies doing their own takes on revenge type of films, but it ain't done it as well as John Wick has, where it's like, oh, he doesn't have like a revenge, like, oh, someone killed his wife, I'm going ballistic. It's like, no, my wife died of natural causes, left me this puppy, and some creeps broke in my house, stole my car, killed the dog that my wife left me, so I'm gonna get it back and kill this prick who did it. But now it's domino effect, because you got this secret society of assassins after you, because now it's like you're on their radar kind of situation. But now you got like what with Jason Statham with like Beekeeper. Oh no, this Beekeeper was still kind of stupid in a way in terms of premise. But yeah, like what was this like Christmas movie that just came out with what's his name, who was the leader of the Suicide Squad? I forgot his name, but he played this like mute guy who lost his son, in like a gang shootout. Now it's like going on a revenge thing. They all trying to do a John Wick thing, and it's kind of it's like you're pretty much right on the coattails of something, and it doesn't feel organic to me. It's like, oh, you're trying to weave in something. You know what I'm talking about? Like, oh, we can't do a John Wick thing, but we need to do a John Wick thing. But each one has gone above and beyond to surpass what came previously. And John Wick Quadrilogy has done an impressive job and ended on like a nice little bow at the end, where it's like, oh, this is completely satisfactory. Who knows, there'll ever be a John Wick 5? I think, as I mentioned before in my review of it, they pushed their luck with the third one. I'm surprised they even went with a fourth one. But I think the way it ended, check out my spoiler review of John Wick 4. Let's check out my review of all these films, because I review all these films. So you can check it out up on my YouTube channel. But yeah, it's yeah, man, John Wick, fantastic franchise. Every time it's like the Dark Knight trilogy. If I watch one, I have to watch them all, and that's how I feel with John Wick. If I watch one, I gotta watch it all back to back. I have to. All right, Murder Mystery 2. Now, in terms of Adam Sandler films, I actually dig the Murder Mystery films. They're not like stellar or anything like that, but they're kind of quaint. And I do like my murder mystery type of movies. But, you know, the way like Adam Sandler and Jennifer Aniston's chemistry is, you know, pretty good. I like watching these two together. I say it's like a I don't know, it's somewhere between B and C. Is it as great as Blue Beetle? No, definitely not. And I can't even say it's better than even something like an actual murder mystery with A Haunting in Venice. So I'd say I put it like a high C. Well, I'll just put it in a C in general, because honestly, at least Indiana Jones has name recognition, a long-standing name recognition. So I'll just give it like a C in general. What's that movie? Crap, I'm blanking on his doggone name. This Jennifer Lawrence movie, No Hard Feelings, I think. In terms of raunchy comedy, it's been a while since I've seen like a good raunchy comedy, because everybody's so freaking sensitive these days with terms of movies that push the boundaries in terms of comedy without saying like being worried about being offensive. And this movie, I thoroughly enjoyed it for that reason. It was not afraid to push certain boundaries, and you kind of miss that these days. I think the last raunchy comedy I've seen in theaters was like The Neighbors 1 and 2 with Seth Rogen and Zac Efron. So it's very good, and Jennifer Lawrence is very funny. So I'll put it at least a B in terms of the comedy I got out of it. Highly recommend you guys checking it out yourself. And a nice little turning on its head in terms of, usually it's the male lead who's going after the girl, but you know, and hijinks ensue. But this is the hot 30-year-old woman going after like a young dude, and things get screwed up, and you know, she's the one getting maced and going all the things that a man would typically go through in these type of films. So it's a nice little twist on that. At least not a twist, but like circumventing the expectations in terms of movies like this. And so it's very funny. And slight spoilers here, my favorite scene in terms of her tracking down her guy that she's actually, you know, likes, finding him in this college party where all these kids are not, it's like they're all on there doing TikTok videos or on their phones or on Oculus or whatever like that, and she just shouts out exactly what I was thinking, like, doesn't anybody fucking these parties no more? And it's so freaking funny. I laugh every freaking time. So yeah, a good take on how kids these days and how they party isn't something that how 90s 80s kids would typically have with a party back in the day. Renfield, also very good. And like the whole play on toxic relationships in general. And when you look at it, you know, certain characters you didn't even think, you know, was like, you think like somebody like Harley and Joker being like a toxic relationship, but people forget about someone like Dracula and Renfield would be like a toxic relationship. Somebody like Galactus and Silver Surfer, definitely a toxic relationship. It doesn't have to be romantic. It just be any type of relationship in general, and in terms of how it's viewed, that we never viewed it before because we never had like a word for it or a term for it back in the day. But yeah, it is like I think it's done a very good job in terms of speaking on a subject like that with somebody like Dracula. And of course, Nicolas Cage, incredible in anything he's in. And given the fact this movie was in production during COVID, it still managed to turn out as decent as it has. Speaks on like, wow, it's very good. But beyond that, because like Awkwafina, she's good in a lot of stuff, but somebody pointed out something, I forgot where I got it from. They pointed out something about Awkwafina, despite being an incredible actress in her own right, and she can be very funny, but she always got that one type of note to her. There's barely any range to her. It's like anything she's in, whereas animated or live action, she just plays Awkwafina. And the same thing with somebody like The Rock, or even like Chris Pratt. It's just that one range that they have, and they pretty much stick to it. Seth Rogen, another person, only has that one gear, and they play it to their strength, so I can't knock them for it. But you'll always be like stuck in that gear if you don't kind of like step out your comfort zone. So she was like the I want to say weak link, but definitely like in terms of any cons, she would be the one if I had to choose one. But I think like the graphic is used very good in here, but the blood seems very like cartoonist in some kind of ways, and doesn't seem like real blood splatter because certain things happen and nobody's covered in blood like you expect them to be. And Nicholas Hoult is incredible too in here. So it's definitely a B. It's like, I don't know, it doesn't rise to the occasion of A, unfortunately. Scream 6, which I reviewed for the first time for the Halloween movie theme month this past October. The actors involved was very good, but what stood out to me is how like this is a shame because the main actress that we've been following for the past few Scream films so far has gone through some controversy. It's like every actor can't have a freaking opinion, all because of the whole situation that's going on overseas with Palestine and Israel. She voiced her opinion on it, and you get in trouble from one side or the other for it. So now she's being cut loose from the franchise unceremoniously, and Jenna Ortega, because these two are good friends, she's no longer want to be a part of it because they booted her friend out of it for no good reason. Which is a shame because we're following along on this main character we're watching essentially Ghostface in the making. And I was like super invested in that, which is a shame. But besides that, I say this is like a decent A. Very like probably like A minus. But the fact that you're in like a major city and like how and they managed to balance out well how you can pull off something that we're used to being like a small confined space in like a small city like Woodsboro, and have like a killer get away with certain kills despite it being like a major city, but managed to pull it off easily. Because you have to address that, and they addressed it very well in here, where you see like they're being chased and they run into a bodega, and despite a couple people trying to help, it is like typically all for 9 because it's kind of ridiculous because the killers, act like he got like martial art moves and stuff like that, which is, Ghostface should be, average at best in terms of fighting back because he's all in all he's still like a normal dude. Shazam 2. I'm gonna give this like a D. I think it's on the same par as Ant-Man 3 in my opinion. I mean, I like Zachary Levi and like the kid who plays young Billy Batson, but like product placement aside, with the skittles of it all, I think a lot of actors put in their A game. I can't say they wasn't good, but I don't know. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I don't remember it giving it glorious reviews. It's lacking here and there, and as I was watching it, I can't help but was like it being on my mind, which is kind of funny. It wasn't on my mind when I was watching Aquaman 2, but in terms of Flash and Shazam 2, all that's been on my mind is just the fact that does it really matter when we know this is all coming to the end anyway? Which is funny because I didn't have that same feeling when I was watching Aquaman 2. Maybe because James Wan was, the writing was very good and the actors at the same time were good. And just like, it was just like, and like certain of the cinematography was, above average at best in some cases. But it's still, but in most cases it's very good. Shazam 2, some of the CGI was like, not horrible like Ant-Man 3 horrible, but still. And seeing Lucy Liu was fun. Like I said, all the actors was really good, but just, I don't know, I was like, does any of this matter? That's all that was on my mind. It was kind of like a shame. I don't know, I was not super invested like I probably should be, because the looming threat on the horizon with Flash 2, and then the ending of the Snyderverse is like, in what's to come with these actors who have been doing a great job regardless, who's coming over and who's not, all that stuff. And of course James Gunn gonna keep the people he worked with so far, but everybody else that he wasn't a part of, who knows? Across the Spider-Verse, not even gonna beat around the bush. S tier. I cannot wait for the second part of what's coming up. But Across the Spider-Verse, probably my favorite film out of the entire year. But it's like neck and neck in terms with John Wick 4 in my opinion. So good. Animation is stellar work, and this movie made me want to go to the art museum, which I've never been, but I really want to just like go to like an art museum and just watch different types of art. And like, because the animators behind the scenes, it had like a field day with depicting every types of artwork imaginable, at least for the most part. I still haven't seen my favorite type of art, Japanese brushstrokes. I need to see like rendering of that. But everything, man, is just like, I'm super invested in the narrative so far with Miles Morales and these different type of, like, talking about canon events and like all these different versions of Spider-Man and women. Oh my god, it's so good, so good. Super Mario movie. I watched this at the theaters the last week it was in the theaters because I don't know. I just like the whole, in terms of the casting was kind of like, you're like, you can't just rely on the fact that Super Mario is the most well-known IP up there with like Batman and Superman in the world. Because like, I'm not saying like you can't have any A-list actors, but you are heavy with A-list actors, and how much money you probably have to pay them is ridiculous. I imagine it would have been ridiculous. But Chris Pratt, like I said earlier, only has that one gear, and he's no different from like Emmett he plays in the Lego movie. Like, Mushroom Kingdom, here we come. And it's like, God, that's just pitiful. It was like the only actor who's actually add something to their range was Jack Black. Despite my annoyance of that Peaches song, his performance was really good because he's actually doing something with it, and everybody, well, at least for the most part, Keegan Michael Key was doing something, but everybody else, for the most part, was just doing their voice. Nothing unique. And I ain't saying you need a stereotypical Italian accent, but actually get somebody from who has some kind of Italian background to do a voice, and get you got so many voice actors who are legit actors in their own right. It's not like a separation between voice actor and actor, and like actors upper echelon or something like that. They're all actors, but actually get somebody who's well known in the voice acting community to be involved in these things, because prop them up a little bit, because like you don't need to foot the bill because like, oh, we need guaranteed butts and seats, so let's get everybody people know. Chris Pratt, people know them. Charlie Day, people know him. Jack Black, people know him. The guaranteed butts and seats, but like you don't need to rely on A-list actors. People know Mario. Who hasn't played a Super Mario game in their freaking lives besides babies? That's my opinion. But just like with like the Joker movie, I had to like admit it's good. It's definitely good. So my biases aside on certain things, I'm gonna at least put it on the A tip. I can't, say it's not stellar work. Flash. Oof. It's gonna be tough here, because I put it on a C ranking of my DC movie, at least Snyderverse type of stuff. But I had to do like a whole new tier listing with James Gunn stuff moving forward. But I put it as a C tier for there, because there's moments here that's actually good. So I can't say it was like the worst movie I've seen in my life. There's moments I enjoyed. Like Michael Keaton was great. Despite the controversy, Ezra Miller is still a good actor. The actress who plays Supergirl is very good. Despite not being the Supergirl that I'm familiar with, is blonde and awesome. I'm not saying she's not awesome, but I'm saying like, the well-known blonde, like Melissa Benoist type of Supergirl. And then don't get me started with the CGI with the whole time bubble thing and what they did with like different universes that they showed, cameoed. It's kind of odd. Some of them are odd looking, and other times it's like, why is that necessary? Because you got Nicolas Cage, you could just have him as his version of Superman, which is very surprising because there's been like rumors well back, late 80s, early 90s of having like a Nicolas Cage Superman, and we actually get to see that, so I can't knock it. So I might just put it as a C. It's kind of wild to me that I even put it above maybe Ant-Man 3, and I kind of like it slightly more than Shazam 2. The Marvels. I'm not going to disagree with people's issues with the Marvels, but I still enjoyed it for what I got from it. Even though I think the budget was kind of like not needed. I think half that budget that they spent on it would have been more than suffice. But the chemistry between the three actresses is very good. I don't think like the family need to be all over the place and to play any kind of major role in the film, honestly. And especially after the heels of Secret Invasion, and people were so confused on like because I think this movie supposed to have came out before Secret Invasion, but Secret Invasion came out first instead. So people's confusion on Nick Fury and Sam Jackson's performance seems like a 180, which I understand. But I put it at a let me see, like check something here. I put it at a high B, low A. High B or low A. Because they are still setting up stuff with the whole like Kate Bishop at the end, and it was kind of fun to see Iman Vellani be like, okay, new Nick Fury of the young generation of superheroes. And with the whole X-Men thing of it all, which is kind of dope. I'm gonna put it like a high B. Transformers Beast Wars. If I give anything an F, it's this. Because y'all pretty much like BS'd us and play us for fools with like, oh, introducing like the Beast Wars, like Maximals and Dinobots, and it's like, oh wow, you get to see a live action of that. Let's roll out on that one, yeah. But no, most of them won't speak, and the others are not acting like they were from the animated TV show back in the 90s, which sucked. You pretty much like right on the coattails of people's nostalgia for that show, and you don't even have them act like their characters or even make them the main focal point. Leave out Bumblebee, leave out the Pete Davidson guy, leave out even Optimus Prime, and just primarily focus on like the Maximals actually fighting against the Dinobots. I want to say like the Predacons. I'm sorry, the Maximals fighting against the Predacons. I was looking forward to that. Oh god! And so I gotta give it F just for that premise alone. I was like, oh my god! Just the fact that they straight up lied or manipulated at most. And the Vacation 2 movie, I like the first one. This one slightly less, but still gave me the same I won't say the same feels, but the first one was it was like a fun ride. This one, I had a ride, it had fun moments, but I didn't get that same feel, if that makes any sense. I still followed along. It wasn't boring by any stretch. And I love like John Cena's character with like the other husband. I forgot the actor's name. He was some kind of comedian. And those two's dynamics was really like the chemistry between these two couples was like intoxicating. But it seems like certain stuff was, I would say, all over the place, but I think that was the point. That's the whole point of like the ride. But SA is like a decent C. So those are all the movies I've seen of 2023 and how I'm ranking them in terms of best to worst. So S tier, John Wick Chapter 4, Across the Spider-Verse. A tier, Aquaman 2, Guardians 3, Scream 6, Super Mario Brothers. B tier, The Marvels, Blue Beetle, A Haunting in Venice, No Hard Feelings, and Renfield. C tier, Indiana Jones, Dial of Destiny, Murder Mystery 2, Flash, Vacation 2, D tier, Ant-Man 3, Shazam 2. F tier, Transformers Beast Wars. So, let me know in the comments below which movies that you seen were stellar in your mind and which ones was like the most pitiful in your mind, or which ones was very okay. And I will see you guys in another video listing all the best and worst video games that I played of this year so far of 2023. And I will see you all later for some more video games. Speaking of, with Diablo 4, now that I wrapped up God of War Valhalla DLC, I can get back to Diablo 4 and playing some more Overwatch 2 later on tonight. So look forward to that. So see y'all later. Take care.